Joining me now to talk about this, LZ Granderson, CNN commentator and senior writer for ESPN. Good morning, LZ.
Morning, Carol.
Well, first it was all about history being made, but now it's all about that kiss. I admire Sam for his courage, but did he go a step too far?
I don't think it's all about the kiss. I'm still looking at Michael Sam, the football player, and wondering, how my Detroit Lions are going to do now they got some new picks and a new tight end. There are few people, absolutely, who were bothered by the kiss. But we're focusing in on those few people as opposed to the tens of millions who didn't think anything of it, or who thought it was a good moment, or who might have been initially uncomfortable but have since moved on with their lives. If we look at the story as a whole, I think the real story is, where did Johnny Manziel end up? Where did Michael Sam end up? And who did Houston draft with the #1 pick? It really is not about that kiss.
Well, I think it's more than a few people, sadly, LZ, because while Americans may be more accepting of gay people, they're not quite there yet. I mean, look at the TV show Modern Family. You never see the couple in that show kissing or doing anything remotely romantic, and there's a reason for that.
But if you think about the same network also had the show Brothers and Sisters, in which you had the couple kiss, get married, wake up in bed together. Same network, same, in fact, it was an hour-long show and not just a half-hour show. So for every example, modern-day example you have of, two couples maybe not kissing for whatever reasons, I can come up with some new shows in which you have seen public displays of affection by same-sex couples.
But you have to admit it's not pervasive, and you have to admit there is a reason for that.
Well, we don't see a great deal of interracial couples on television either. And as we remember from the Cheerios commercial, America kind of responded to that. But we rightfully so, remember that this is the voice of the minority, not the majority. The country's attitude has shifted when it comes to marriage equality. Obviously, if the attitude shifted towards marriage equality, that goes along with the idea of two people of the same sex kissing. That's why you kiss the bride, kiss the groom, all that good stuff. I'm not trying to say that there still aren't people who will be upset about it. What I'm trying to say is that as much emphasis that we're putting on the people who do have trouble with it, and those two players you mentioned, one of them was a 7th-round pick just like Michael Sam, so he should just be thinking, God, he's in the NFL as well. And the other one is a retired player who's no longer there. This is not the entire NFL brotherhood that you're talking about. You've pointed out two individuals, one who's a second-year player and one who's not even in the league anymore. You aren't talking about a whole rush of players rushing to Twitter, rushing to Facebook and Instagram, denouncing the kids or denouncing Michael Sam.
If they have any brains at all, they're not going to rush to Twitter and put negative stuff on there. They're not, because they know they're going to get in trouble, because the NFL came out and said, don't do that. That is wrong. We're trying to be more inclusive.
Well, there's a combination of things you can look at. If you think about the story with, Jeff Fisher, the man who, wanted to draft Michael Sam and is the coach for the St. Louis Rams. If I can have time just to give you a little history of that. Brendan Burke was a student athlete manager at the University of Miami in Ohio. He played hockey. He came out to the team. They embraced him. He was killed in 2010 in a tragic car accident. His brother and family came up with an organization in his honor, You Can Play. The current president of You Can Play is Wade Davis, a former NFL player who played for Jeff Fisher. Wade Davis this year went to the NFL and had a conversation about why it's important that we have an environment in which open gay players can feel safe in the NFL. In that room was Jeff Fisher, who went up to Wade Davis afterwards, gave him a hug and said he understood. Months later, we have this moment. And so my point is that we can choose to look at all the people who denounce Michael Sam, denounce the kiss, or we can look at the heroes who have worked tirelessly throughout the decades, being brave enough to come out, and here is this moment, and we need to look at it and encapsulate it in its entirety. Yes, some of the objection is part of the storyline, but we didn't celebrate the KKK during the March on Washington. We focus in on the achievement of the March on Washington, and I think we should be embracing this moment as well in the same manner.